The glass shatters, a spray of diamonds against the velvet carpet. Ava doesn't scream. She doesn't have time. A heavy hand slams against her chest, throwing her into the marble wall as a bullet whistles through the space where her head had been a second ago. She looks up into eyes as cold as a winter grave. It's Elliot, her new bodyguard, the man she spent all morning mocking. He doesn't say, "I told you so." He just presses his body against hers to shield her, his heart hammering a frantic, violent rhythm against her spine. "Stay small," he hisses, his voice a jagged blade, "or you're leaving this party in a body bag." In the next 10 minutes, Ava will realize her perfect life was a lie, her best friend is a snake, and the only man she can trust is a monster who's becoming obsessed with her every breath. Subscribe now if you think she makes it out alive, or comment Betrayal if you've ever been stabbed in the back by someone you loved. This is their story. The night had started with champagne. Ava stood in the center of the penthouse, the silk of her emerald gown hugging her curves like a second skin. To the world, she was the queen of Manhattan. To Elliot, watching from the corner with his hands folded in front of him, she was a walking bullseye. "You're staring, Elliot," Ava mocked, swirling her glass. "It's creepy. Relax. It's a charity gala, not a war zone." Elliot didn't blink. "You're loud, you're bright, and you're standing in front of a floor-to-ceiling window. To a sniper, this isn't a gala. It's a shooting gallery." "You're so dramatic," she laughed, turning her back on him. "My father hired you because he's paranoid. I have friends here. I'm safe." "You have fans, Ava, not friends." Elliot stepped closer, his shadow swallowing hers. He was too close. She could smell the faint scent of rain and gun oil on him. It made her stomach flip in a way she hated. "And fans are just people who haven't found a reason to hate you yet." The tension between them was a physical weight. Ava hated his control. Elliot hated her recklessness. He had spent weeks studying her, every habit, every laugh, the way she bit her lip when she was nervous. It started as a job. It was becoming a fixation. He didn't just want to keep her alive. He wanted to own the space she breathed in. Then the lights flickered. A red dot danced across Ava's throat. Elliot didn't think. He lunged. The sound of the window exploding was deafening. He tackled her to the floor, the emerald silk tearing as they slid across the debris. "Get off me!" she gasped, struggling. "Shut up!" he roared, pinning her down with his weight. "They're inside, Ava. The call is coming from inside the house." He dragged her toward the service stairs. Behind them, the sounds of panic erupted. But as they burst into the stairwell, Ava's phone buzzed. A video was going viral. It was her best friend, Chloe, caught on a hot mic in the powder room just minutes earlier. "Honestly, I hope someone does snatch her. If Ava disappears, the brand deals come to me. She's a spoiled brat living on borrowed time anyway." Ava froze, her face turning ashen. The woman she'd shared every secret with wanted her dead for a follower count. "Move!" Elliot shoved her toward the exit. "She knew," Ava whispered, tears blurring her vision. "She knew someone was coming tonight." "I told you," Elliot growled, checking the hallway before pulling her through. "Everyone is an enemy when you have everything. Now, do you want to cry about your fake friend, or do you want to live?" They made it to the blacked-out SUV in the alley. Elliot threw her into the passenger seat and floored it, the tires screaming. As they tore through the city, Ava looked at him, really looked at him. His knuckles were white on the steering wheel. His jaw was set so tight it looked like it might snap. "You care so much?" she asked, her voice trembling. "You're just a contractor." Elliot gripped the wheel harder. "Because you're mine to protect, and I don't lose what's mine." Wait, did Elliot just cross the line? Is he protecting her, or is he becoming obsessed? Like this video right now if you think Elliot is already falling for her, and hit that subscribe button for the most intense twist coming up next. They arrived at a safe house, a concrete bunker disguised as a cabin deep in the woods. Ava paced the small room, the agitation fading into a cold, hollow ache. "My father, I have to call him. He'll know what to do." "Your father isn't answering, Ava. Elliot said, stripping off his tactical vest. His shirt was soaked in blood at the shoulder. "You're hurt," she whispered, moving toward him. "Don't tell me what to do," he flared, his grief turning into a sudden, sharp rage. She grabbed the first aid kit. "You bled for me. The least I can do is fix it." She forced him into a chair. As she peeled back the fabric, she saw the jagged graze of a bullet. Her hands shook. Elliot watched her, his gaze heavy and dark. The air in the room thickened. The silence wasn't empty. It was full of everything they weren't saying. "You're too soft for this world, Ava," he murmured, his voice dropping an octave. "I'm not," she countered, dabbing the wound. "I just didn't know the world was this ugly." "It's uglier than you can imagine." He suddenly reached up, grabbing her wrist. His grip was firm, possessive. "I've spent 10 years in the dirt so people like you can play in the sun, but now you're in the dirt with me, and I'm not letting you go back." "Is that a threat, Elliot?" "It's a promise." He pulled her closer until her breath hitched against his lips. The anger, the fear, and the strange, forbidden heat between them snapped. He kissed her, not a gentle kiss, but a desperate, hungry claim. It tasted like salt and iron. For a moment, the danger outside didn't matter. The fact that he was her employee didn't matter. She wrapped her fingers in his hair, pulling him in, needing the solidness of him to stop the world from spinning. He pulled away just as quickly, his eyes full of a terrifying intensity. "If we do this, Ava, there's no turning back. I won't just be your guard. I'll be your shadow. I'll go to war with anyone who looks at you wrong. Is that what you want?" Before she could answer, his laptop pinged. He had been running a deep trace on the hitmen's encrypted comms. Elliot's face went pale, a look Ava never seen on him. "What is it?" she asked. Elliot turned to the screen. It was a wire transfer. $5 million, paid out 2 days ago. The source wasn't Chloe. It wasn't a rival socialite. The account belonged to Ava's father. No. Ava backed away, hitting the wall. "He loves me. I'm his only daughter." "Your father is bankrupt, Ava," Elliot said, his voice cold and clinical now. "The company is a shell. Your life insurance policy is the only thing that can save his empire. He didn't hire me to keep you alive. He hired me to be the fall guy when you died." Can you believe a father would sell his own daughter for a bank balance? This is the reality of the world they live in. Comment monster if you think her father deserves the worst, and make sure you're subscribed because the final showdown is about to get bloody. The heartbreak hit her harder than the bullet ever could. The betrayal was absolute. Her friend, her father, her life, it was all a curated lie. "So what now?" she asked, her voice dead. "Are you going to finish the job?" Elliot walked over to her, looming over her small frame. He placed his hands on the wall on either side of her head, trapping her. "I don't take orders from dead men. Your father made a mistake. He gave you to me, and I'm keeping you." "We have to go to the police," she said. "The police are on his payroll," he growled. "There's only one way out. We burn it all down. Every account, every reputation, every lie. We strip them of everything. And then we disappear." The next 48 hours were a blur of high-speed chases and digital warfare. Elliot used his old Black Ops contacts to leak the truth about Ava's father to the press in real time. As the stock prices plummeted, the enemies started coming out of the woodwork. They were cornered in an abandoned shipyard at dawn. Her father's private security team had tracked Elliot's burner phone. "Give her to us, Elliot," a voice shouted through a megaphone. "You'll get your payout and a clean record. Don't throw your life away for a girl who doesn't even know how to pump her own gas." Elliot looked at Ava. She was wearing his oversized tactical jacket, her face smudged with soot, a handgun he'd taught her to use, gripped in her hands. "You ready?" he whispered. "I'm not that girl anymore," she said, her eyes flashing with a newfound coldness. The firefight was short and brutal. Elliot moved like a whirlwind of violence, a man possessed. He didn't fight like a soldier. He fought like a man protecting his heart. When the lead mercenary lunged at Ava, Elliot didn't even use his gun. He tackled the man, his hands around the guy's throat, his face a mask of pure, unadulterated rage. "You touched her," Elliot hissed, the sound barely human. "You die." Ava watched him, a shiver running down her spine. It was terrifying. It was obsessive, and it was the only thing that had ever felt real in her life. When the smoke cleared, they were the only ones left standing. Her father was in handcuffs across town, his empire in ashes. Chloe was being hunted by the same press she used to manipulate. Months later, on a quiet beach in a country that didn't appear on most maps, Ava sat on the porch of a small cottage. The silk dresses were gone, replaced with simple linen. The noise of Manhattan was a distant memory. Elliot stepped out behind her, his hand resting possessively on her shoulder. He still checked the perimeter every hour. He still slept with a knife under his pillow. He was still the brooding, obsessive man who had stolen her away from the world. She leaned her head back against him, closing her eyes. "Are we safe?" Elliot kissed the top of her head, his grip tightening just a fraction, enough to let her know he was never letting go. "You're with me, Ava. You'll never be anything else." The world thought she was dead, her enemies were gone, and in the silence of the waves, Ava finally realized that being owned by a man like Elliot wasn't a prison. It was the only place she had ever been free. If you loved this story of forbidden love and dark obsession, hit that like button right now. Don't forget to subscribe for more intense stories like this every week. What would you do if your own family turned on you? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching until the very end. You're the real ones. See you in the next one.